Hi, this is Natalie Lander, voice of Kinsey, Tara Branford, Stargirl, and many others. You are listening to a W2Mnet podcast. You can visit W2Mnet.com for other podcasts about entertainment, video games, sports, and wrestling. You are listening to Video Games to the Max.
Hello and welcome to Video Games to the Max, episode 226. I'm your host, Sean Garmer, and here with me, as always, Mr. Marc Morrison.
Howdy.
And joining us once again, Mr. Jens Deitrich.
Salutations.
And, this is episode 226, and we are moseying along with more, I don't know, how's your things going with reopening?
I haven't paid very much attention to it. I still won't leave the house. But yeah, apparently some places are more open than they were. Different parts of the state. Atlanta is still, again, you know what? I do not have enough first-hand experience to really know. Nothing new from my end, other than I'm thankfully still employed.
My state just got delayed. We're going to open I think 11th or 12th. Mm-hmm. And now it's to the 28th.
Yeah.
Well, that's better.
Which I'm sure the protesting is just going to even get worse now.
Yeah, it'd be great. We had a small town, not a small town, but a mid-level town, like a city councilman woman. She got arrested from stealing from a grocery store. And her excuse was she has no money because of the virus, or she doesn't have a job.
Hey, these are desperate times.
Wait, so the council people are not employed?
Well, no, because it's not a full-time job. I think I think the story is that she gets $20 a meeting, but they're not having meetings, and her regular job is a real estate lawyer.
Yeah, being an entry-level politician, you really need a second. That's not a job. Okay. That's just a hobby at the beginning. Once you get high up the chain enough.
The mayor gets $40 a meeting, so there you go. I'm sure he's living out the hog.
Right.
But I'd be curious.
To save, I guess.
No, you need to get yourself into a position where you can take bribes. That's where the real money is. You just need to have enough power where you can be some sort of a broker in a position where you're gonna make deals and cut whatever.
It's suitcases full of money.
Yeah, well, give out contracts to your cronies. That's what being a politician is all about.
Yeah, I can ask the former Detroit mayor about that. Mm-hmm. She claimed I haven't been able to find out her political party, because I know that'll make it more hilarious when I find out she's a Republican. But she claimed she only had enough money to either buy insulin or food, so she bought insulin. And I'd say, if only there was a universal healthcare system in place that might prevent some of this. How interesting. But yeah, I want to get a haircut.
Thankfully,
and I don't think your states do this. Either of your states, but I have a fuck ton of bottles piling up in my room or in my house, because we have a bottle return system here.
We do it, but I think you have to drive somewhere I've never been to.
No, most any grocery store in our state, they have machines to take bottles because you get 10 cents per bottle.
Oh, okay.
But also pop costs 10 cents extra. They offset it that way. But I have all these bottles that I can't return because the machine, they don't want to contaminate people.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That'll probably be one of the last things they mess with.
It'll be opening August.
Yeah, I did find out, like I said, I'm in a job where I do like the people I work with. The thing is, you don't really get a lot of chance to interact with them because you're constantly taking calls from people, and you have to be paying attention. You can't be talking to the person next to you or whatever. So unless the person that happens to be your friend happens to go on break with you, which usually never happens, because you can't have that many people out not taking calls at the same time. Usually one person goes on break by themselves. That's how that works. So I was basically told it will probably be the last people in my state to go back to normal, because our office cannot have the computers put 6 feet apart. And we can't work with masks on because it would obviously mess with our voices. So they said it's not even been a thought of having us go back to that, which is the only good thing because it saves me an hour drive in gas and health of my car, which driving every day for an hour was not really great for a 14-year-old car that probably has more things wrong with it that are being salvaged by not really using it a lot now. But yeah, I mean, everything seems to kind of be in phases slowly. Luckily, my girlfriend has got a degree in beautician, so she knows how to cut hair. I got my hair cut, but I totally feel the people that it was getting to the point where it was starting to bother me. I was like, we gotta do something here. Cause I went to go buy, when Amazon still had, the shaving available. I was waiting to get paid a couple of days later. When I got paid a couple of days later, they were all gone. And she was like, you know what? I'll just use scissors and we'll just do it that way. So, but yeah, more, just, doing this work from home thing like Jens is, and been able to play almost at the end of Streets of Rage now. I really enjoy the fact that it lets you switch the characters after every stage, so you don't necessarily have to just stay with one character for the entire 10 stages. And it actually rewards you in the stats if you switch characters out. So that's cool too, I guess. A lot of the beat 'em up games in the past, you were kind of confined to that one character throughout the entire game unless you just decided not to continue, but then you had to restart all over again. So that's a thing, I think. But I just love the graphics for that game. They're really good. And it's a beat 'em up. We've all played one of those. You kind of know what that is if you've done any gaming in your life, but it feels good. Like, it just feels, it's really tight. Never had problems with like it glitching out or making me feel like I did something wrong. Like, it's just the combos feel good. There's enough variety there. You get penalized for using your special too much or your like extra attacks, so you have to kind of figure things out. And I like that each one of the characters has like their own little quirks. Like the daughter of Adam, Cherry, is one of my favorite characters. She has like a thing where she can hop from one person's head to the other and just hammer them and then flip them over with her guitar. Mm-hmm. It's pretty awesome. So yeah, it's on Game Pass. You can give it a whirl on there, or you can go buy it if you don't have a PC that plays games or an Xbox. It's on Switch and PS4 as well.
Stylistically, how much of a throwback is it? How much is it like classic Streets of Rage?
It's totally a throwback. Like, everything about it is, you still have the thing where when you die and you come back, I think you'll most probably remember it from The Simpsons. Remember how when you died and came back, the enemies would fall down automatically? Mm-hmm. It happened in Streets of Rage.
You'd fly in, and then if they got hit by the fly in, then they got knocked down. But
this game, when you die and you come back, all the enemies fall down.
Yeah,
when you
that's
first
probably better.
So it was just like, it made me laugh. I was like, wow, this really makes you feel like you're playing with that old game, and just you still have the where it doesn't feel as restricted, right? Because you can still kind of go back a little bit, whereas, the older consoles, once you went forward, you necessarily couldn't go back. You were kind of stuck there. If you miss a chicken or something, you can go back and grab it. And it doesn't disappear, so you can actually strategically have it there and wait until you're about to run out of life and then use it, and bam, your life comes back. So, because you do get a bonus for how much life you have at the end of each stage. And you get a bonus for not using your special. You get a bonus for having various lives also. There's been quite a few times where I was at the final boss for that stage, and I was literally, if I got hit once, I was gonna die, and I actually made a big comeback and beat him, and it just felt really good to do. So, and there's several times where I had to restart the stage over because I died as well. But yeah, it is really very much a throwback. It doesn't have any of the, I guess, things you would see in beat 'em ups. It doesn't have the combo meter thing there all the time to gratify you. It's all at the end. So, you don't necessarily know how you're doing. Like a lot of the beat 'em ups, like one that I reviewed for my first review for the year, it was constantly there all the time. Another game that we'll talk about with the Xbox thing has that as well, which is weird because it's not a fighting, it's not a beat 'em up game. But, yeah, if you love Streets of Rage at all, this is definitely, for good or bad, if you wanted to improve, if you wanted to give you reasons to keep replaying it or whatever, it doesn't necessarily have that unless you want to play on hard difficulties or whatnot. There are these, like, markers that I haven't gotten to, and I don't know if that means you unlock a character if you get to that marker, or what that means necessarily. But I guess I'll find out if I ever get there in my playthrough, which I don't think I will. Technically I should have had the review done like a week ago, but it's just, I've finally gotten to really be able to start playing it. So I'm almost at the end, and I hopefully will have the review by the weekend. Speaking of, Marc's Animal Crossing review is posted. The Ancient Enemy one should be posted by either tomorrow or Sunday. And speaking of, Marc's also reviewing this game that he's been talking about for several pods now, a Snowrunner. So how's that?
Still good. Me and Jens had a fun adventure trying to give him a new truck. That didn't end well.
Well, this was one of those things where Marc basically hyped this truck up as like, this is like playing the game in easy mode, and it's way less frustrating. I said, all right, show me your fire truck or whatever.
It was like a big logging truck or something.
Right.
I mean, the thing is massive to the point where the cameras can't keep up with it, which is kind of funny to me.
So we went on a quest for him to lead me to this truck. But of course, I did not have nearly as many things open as Marc did. That there's basically paths that you need to clear, missions that you do that will open up bridges and stuff.
Yeah, it's like you have to drop off planks to build a bridge, or to clear, drop off tools to clear a rock slide and all this other crap.
So there are ways around that, but they're really terrible ways around that. So we ended up taking, really kind of long, winding paths through several giant areas of this game to try and get to this truck that Marc thought I should pick up, which seems like a great truck, and I was excited for it. But that was a very arduous journey, and our cars basically broke down before we reached the third area.
Your car broke down completely because we kept going through the big swamp, and your engine just died. And then my truck ran out of gas. So
yeah, so we need to try another. So this is the third of 3 areas. We need to try another run at that. But
I think
every time playing that game, the prospect of playing that game just fills me with dread every time. As soon as I booted it up and I'm in it and started playing it, I'm just thinking, this is a terrible mistake.
It's like that, huh?
I know how I felt for most of that Resident Evil 6 playthrough.
Well, I won't make you do that again.
No, I mean, the infinite ammo thing's fine. But what I was going to say about Snowrunner is so the thing that's really annoying me about the game right now is on the map, you can see quests that'll be you need to bring over 2 pieces of lumber, or 2 pieces of 2 boards of wood and 2 service part boxes. And I was okay, I know where both those are. I mean, you can just pick them up in the game world. So one mission I had to do was I had to bring two of each thing to this house. And I got a trailer, I got it over there, and I rolled the trailer once, which is not fun, because I had to get it all over again. And I got to the house, and I activated the quest, and it was oh, you didn't bring the right ones. We only want specific versions of these tools. And it's why can't the game just tell you that in the first place? Or why can't you just activate a mission from the map? You shouldn't have to drive to the mission to activate it. So my hour-long tour driving these stupid parts to this house ended in failure because they weren't the right ones. That's not fun. And also, the camera can keep up with that truck and the trailer, so it's a super weird angle where it's not. I mean, that camera's already a little weird, but it gets super janky with this trailer and truck, so that's not cool.
Snowrunner janky, you don't say.
I appreciate the jankiness, though, except for when the game crashes.
Yeah.
Yep. The other fun thing I got is I got a Mega SG yesterday.
Okay.
That is the analog Sega Genesis console.
What have you run in it so far?
Well, I modded it, so I jailbroke the firmware, so you can just put in any game on the ROM or any game on the SD card.
Okay.
And it can play Genesis games, Sega Master System games, which I have no experience with, Game Gear games, which I have some experience with, and Coleco games.
What have you tried on it?
Kid Chameleon, Gunstar Heroes, which I almost beat, kind of just for fun, because all you have to do is hold right and B with the homing and laser attack, and it destroys everything in the game. Sonic 3 and Knuckles, Michael Jackson's Moonwalker.
Ooh.
You know, all the big hits.
Yeah, that's a nice cross-section of games. So how do they run? Is it basically perfect to the original experience, or is there some emulation compromise?
It's perfect to the original experience. If anything, it looks a little better than the original experience. Well,
I'm assuming because it's going through HDMI, but is the hardware, did they basically recreate the original hardware is what I'm asking?
Yeah. It's like the Super NT, like, FPGA emulation or, FPGA, whatever. So it runs perfectly then for what you would expect a Genesis to run at.
So you had to have like the physical card to something where you can just kind of stick a USB and get files?
No. I said I modded it, so I have everything.
Oh, okay. But like, could you install something, or it has to be technically you have to have the cards?
No. I mean, it has an SD card slot on the side of it.
Yeah, you can rip from the cards, right? But I mean, Marc just wants to be able to plug in a card that just has every game ever on it.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And also, I don't have a ton of appreciation for the Genesis. Like, I had one as a kid, but I only had like 3 games for it, so I don't have like a huge, library in my head about I have like 20 Super Nintendo games, like all the stuff I really want, but that's not going to happen with the Genesis.
Right, you're not going to have physical copies to rip.
Right. I may grab a copy of Gunstar Heroes just because I like that game. That's about it. And I got the white one to make it look extra gaudy.
Yeah, I saw the picture of it. It looks really cool. So
yeah.
I don't have a thing with the Genesis either, but there's always games that I enjoyed. Going and playing through emulation throughout the years. So that's
all
cool.
my nostalgia is for the Sega Genesis collection on 360.
Oh, really?
I actually watched a video of that comparing it to this thing, and they said like that 360 version has some like weird emulation issues.
It has a little bit, but at the time, it's just how I experienced most of those games for the first time. I'd never played the bulk of that stuff, but other than Sonic.
When I was a kid, I had a Genesis, a Sega CD, and a 32X. And if you want to talk about like something being big, bulky, and dumb, it's all that crap bolted together.
Yeah.
Because there's this thing actually can connect to a Sega CD, which is kind of interesting. There's like 10 or 15 good Sega CD games.
Are they going to make a Mega? Are they going to make a Mega SC?
No. They should, but not that I know of.
Right. So you were just going to list all the good Sega CD games. Go.
No. But there are no
Sewer
good
Shark? Microcosm?
No, there are no good.
Yes.
Well, like I said, there are like 10 good Sega CD games, but there are no good Sega 32X games.
There you go. That's your next top 8 Sega CD games.
Well, like Vi, Lunar, Sonic CD. That's kind of about it.
Snatcher?
Never came out in America.
Well, but you've got a modded copy. You can get the fan sub.
No, I can't because you still need a Sega CD to play games.
Oh, right. But but can't it just be you just get a ROM and put it on a little flash card that plugs into this thing?
Nope.
Or
that'd be nice, and I think you could probably technically do it, but they haven't released a core for it yet, or I doubt they ever will. But
is there extra processing power that the CD adds in addition to just the drive?
I think a little, but there actually is some weird flash card that's like $250. I think it's called the Terra Onion or Terra Drive. And that does let you just play Sega CD games from the cart. But I'm not going to spend that much money on a Sega Genesis flash card.
Right. I'd rather just get the real thing and play those games natively.
Yeah, you can almost get half another console for that.
A Sega CD is under $250. I mean, on eBay, you could probably get it for like $150.
That's what I mean.
But the fun part is the Sega CD also has no copy protection. So you can just download every game and burn a copy.
Fair enough.
So if you want to play Night Trap, you can have at it.
Because I don't have enough copies of Night Trap by now.
Yeah, I mean, you can play it in its original form.
That I ended up with several different versions of that limited run release.
Or that Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch music video.
Oh, yeah, make my video.
Yeah.
I know. There's also a CNC Music Factory version of that seemed pretty cool.
Yep, so we all know the Sega CD had its hits.
Exactly.
I'm glad that we spent time on going through the Sega CD.
Yeah.
I would like to talk about the thing that I've been playing basically between the last nonstop since we last recorded until now.
Yeah, Sakura Wars.
Yes.
What's that been?
It's an interesting game. It's a weird mishmash of stuff, and not all of it is great. Some of it is great, though, and I still think it's worth playing overall. But it kind of, and this is going to sound really damning, but it kind of does for Sakura Wars what Valkyria Revolution did for Valkyria Chronicles, where it takes a strategy franchise, a tactical RPG, basically, and retools it, where it's still largely... So what Sakura Wars always was, is it has the tactical RPG components where you control mechs that fight demons from another realm, from a shadow realm, so to speak. And then you have the part where, well, the cover for your little demon fighting group is this Grand Imperial Theater where you do musical theater. And the musical theater performers are also the mech pilots. And they kind of split their job between those two things.
Wait. So, is this like Sucker Punch the game?
No. It's more... Okay, it's like 50% harem anime, 50% mecha anime in a steampunk setting with
like I said, Sucker Punch the game.
Right.
That's great.
With just tropes upon tropes. If you watch any kind of harem anime, like there's so much accidental pervert in this, where like your main character is kind of a noble, upstanding guy who wants to do the right thing, but keeps getting himself into situations where it looks like he's peeving on the girls, and they're upset at him. That kind of thing, right? There's a lot of that. There's a lot of obviously there's your talk about friendship and togetherness and overcoming various traumas. It is the harem anime part of it, and it's kind of funny. One thing I do appreciate is that you can basically follow each of the romance quest lines. So it's on paper, it sounds bad because you're the captain of this combat unit, and you're basically romancing all of these women who are serving under you, in this way where every single romance scene goes like right up until the point where you think it would move on to like, now we're a couple and we're going to kiss. But then it just always stops short of going there. And it is always kept secret. Like the one line that you'll hear over and over again is, let's just keep this between you and me. Or this is going to be our little secret. So none of the female characters are aware of the fact that you're dating everybody. So you can kind of keep these relationships going until like the second to last mission, where you're then going to choose what ending you're going to get. But you really can just kind of build that stuff up. And it feels weird because, okay, so sure, Fire Emblem Three Houses let you date your students like after a 5-year period, when all that stuff's way in the past.
Right.
Yeah.
And, Persona 5 has some of that kind of thing in it.
But it's pretty like in the background. It's not like super important.
But in Sakura Wars, it's really like, okay, this is like a harem anime that doesn't dare to be a harem anime. Like it just kind of stops just short of going of actually like getting explicit about anything, like, or even the fact that there is a relationship. Like it's never acknowledged. Well, it's always just you have these bonding moments under the pretense of you're acting together, or you're it's a therapy session or whatever. Mark, sorry, you're about to say something.
No, I was going to say it's like that. We talked about it online, I think, but it's like that Thousand Arms game for the PS1.
Mm-hmm. So you've got that part of it, which is slightly simplified from how Sakura Wars used to be. Sakura Wars used to have, it's what you would expect from like a Fire Emblem or a Persona, where you walk around the school. in between missions, you walk around the school, you talk to everybody, you build those relationships. It's always multiple choice questions with a timer. So it's clocking down, and you've got to choose one of 3 answers usually, and there's always a correct one. There's always, here's the answer that this particular character wants to hear, and you just have to hope that you know them well enough. And sometimes it'll be quiz, like you expect from a visual novel, right? So visual novels will quiz you on whether you're paying attention. The characters will always ask you about something that came up in dialogue or in a scene earlier to make sure that like, oh, do you remember that thing that happened? So there's a lot of that. And then there's a lot of just kind of, do you understand the history of Sakura Wars kind of questions as well, where, somebody will ask you about. But mostly they do make that kind of beginner friendly by having, when those kind of questions come up, out of the 3 possible answers, 2 of them will be completely nonsensical. So whatever sounds remotely plausible is just going to be the one you want to pick when it comes to Sakura War history. So that's the social component of it, where you do little, you just basically just talk to people, sometimes under the pretense of a fetch quest or something, but that stuff is absolutely minimal. It's mostly conversations. And then when you're in missions, this is where they changed it. This is where it's no longer Sakura Wars, where it's no longer a kind of, isometric tactical RPG, and it just becomes a very generic third-person action game masher. So you've got your heavy attack, you've got your light attack. So for some of the robots, the heavy attack is ranged. If you build up enough energy by doing damage, you're going to get a super that you can unleash that gives you a little animation for your super move, and then does a lot of damage. And that is basically, you can dash, you can rocket boost, you can jump, and that's basically it. And you go through these combat arenas, fighting these kind of just mobs of enemies. It's not hugely challenging. Like, it's not a very difficult game in combat. I think they tried to keep it accessible because there's probably people who are there for the visual novel part, so they didn't make it super crazy hard.
They could have also just given you a difficulty toggle.
So they don't do a difficulty toggle at all, or if there's, I don't think there is one at all. I haven't seen it in any of the menus unless I've missed something. What they do instead is there's just a default difficulty, which is already pretty easy. And then if you're struggling, they give you reinforcements, which stack. So the first time you die, and have to restart from checkpoint, they ask you, like, do you want to use reinforcements? And it'll add +1 reinforcements. And the next time it'll add +2 reinforcements, and so on, if you opt for reinforcements. So it basically gradually will make the game easier the more retries you have. And then the only thing it'll ding you for that in your final evaluation. But it won't ding you too hard, actually. Like, if you get like 1 or 2 reinforcements, which basically should be enough for anybody to beat one of these bosses, at least. The boss fights are the only really challenging thing. You might, instead of getting an S, you might get an A. So, I don't know. The thing I liked about it is I like the characters. I really like the art style a lot. I think it's a beautiful looking game. I mean, obviously coming off Final Fantasy VII Remake, it's not going to compete with Final Fantasy VII Remake for visuals, but it has a really nice, clean art style. It's nice to see those characters in HD. It's nice to see the Grand Imperial Theater, like, beautifully modeled as an environment. They also do other parts. It's not just the theater. It's like there's like 6 or 7 locations in Tokyo that you can travel to have social events. Various restaurants, the theater, the movie theater, I should say, a bunch of stuff. The park that you can go to, and you'll go to for various quests. But that's Sakura Wars. Or story-wise, we are set basically 10 years after the original games. So the premise of this is that there was some big incident with the archdemon after a portal was opened to Shadow Tokyo, and regular Tokyo was going to get engulfed. So they made somebody gave their life basically to forge a magical key from their life force. And the characters of the original games ended up being locked inside. So they locked the demon in this portal but our original heroes are also locked in there. So the original Sakura, there's a new Sakura, who is just a different Sakura, who at some point in her youth was saved by the original Sakura and thus feels some kind of a bond, or she wants to follow in her footsteps, I suppose. And she dresses like her and she looks a lot like her. So it's basically, you've got Sakura again, but it's a different one. And the original one is trapped in the Shadow Realm. So there, and there's
that definitely sounds like Yu-Gi-Oh! Just stepped into.
Oh yeah. Well, to be fair, Persona also has a Shadow Realm.
Yeah.
A lot of things have Shadow Realms. But yeah, so they're trapped there, and like there's one of the big arcs. Each character has a big arc, and big part of Sakura's arc is that there's a villain who Sakura thinks might be the old Sakura but corrupted, and it really tears her up. But we don't really know whether or not it's the real one or not. So
it's like Tron Legacy.
Yeah, actually yes. So then there's a spy, there's like a traitor in your midst. Oh, and I should say the whole thing is also a tournament arc.
Even more anime inspiration.
Yeah, again, I was saying it's like if you name an anime trope, it's probably in here. So the big chunk, and it's funny. There's also a Save the Rec Center kind of plot. So the tournament arc, and those two plots kind of stack on top of one another, where on the one hand, so it's funny, I don't know how the funding in this world makes sense, because you're basically a military organization with all this equipment, and you've got crazy tech. At some point, this is a spoiler, I shouldn't talk about this, but you have insanely awesome tech, let's put it that way. Yeah. But apparently you don't have enough money to repair the stage after the stage is damaged. So, then you've got to put on a show to make money to help fix, you've got to raise money to fix the stage. And in fact, a big plot point is that part of the reason that the theater exists is to fund the mech operation, which is even crazier. Because you wouldn't think like, no, like musical theater is not that profitable. You can't really fund a war with musical theater.
Right, yeah.
I don't know how this works.
Hey man, the Muppets can.
Right. But there's basically like this part where there's a Save the Rec Center kind of plot that you have to do, where it's like a put on the show just so we can keep going through the tournament, which is the real goal. But then of course, while this whole tournament plot is going on, there's also, a plot to bring back the Archdemon and reopen the rift. So all of these plots are kind of happening simultaneously and converge at the end in a very neat way. Like this is one of those things where you can see the screenwriting outline a little bit as it's coming to a conclusion where you're like, okay, oh yeah, this arc goes here and this arc goes here and this resolves this way. And like, yep, it's a well-oiled machine the way that they wrap everything up, but it's almost too convenient at times. But anime, so yeah, it's not like these things are all par for the course.
Convenient.
This is par for the course for the genre that we're in. So as a representation of the genre, considering for what it is, I enjoyed it. It's not a masterpiece or anything. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. I think I would recommend it to people like myself who are into that sort of thing. But it's probably like a 7 out of 10 game.
So it's definitely something I can be cool with picking up if it goes on a $30 sale or something.
Yeah, I think you as a Musu player would be totally fine with it. Like
yeah,
if you imagine,
I enjoy my anime too, so
if you imagine a Musu game with a bunch of visual novel anime around it, a little bit more depth than a Musu, but at least in the stuff that's not the combat. The combat is very bare bones.
Yeah, so you're really not there for the combat. You're there for the visual novel, the anime,
and the combat. There's not even that much of it. I mean, the bulk of it actually is kind of in the third act, because the last 2 chapters are big combat chapters. But for most of the game, you'll go through it and you'll spend like an hour and a half doing, talking to people and visiting the various locales. And then there'll be a little emergency call and you'll do 5 minutes of robot fighting. And then it's back to anime.
Right.
Or back to visual novel, that is.
Sounds fun to me. I'm down with that.
Yeah. So, people who, it's funny because, Marc will often bring up how Asura's Wrath is not a real game, or at least in people's minds it's not a real game. I'm thinking, Asura's Wrath has more not quick time event combat, I think, than Sakura Wars has.
I mean, but the combat in Asura's Wrath, you can't lose. Like, there's no fail state.
That's not true. There are a couple of that's absolutely not true. Some of the boss fights, especially the DLC
I'm not talking about the boss fights. I'm talking about just the main, like, there are a few, instances where you just, like, hit the ground and you face, like, these, like, cookie-cutter enemies that,
Yep.
literally can't lose against because it can barely damage you.
I mean, I think you could lose if you really tried. But you're right, they're not those sequences are not particularly hard. The boss fights can get kind of hard. Like the last boss fight in the DLC, actually the last couple boss fights in that game get hairy.
When you face Akuma?
Is Akuma... So the one I'm talking about, the hardest one in the game is the one where you just it's like a perfectly white room. And you're just fighting this. It's just like a shadow figure. He's the very last boss.
No, there are like actual boss fights against like, Akuma and Evil Ryu in that game.
Okay.
Like, it turns into a fighting game.
Oh, you're talking about the DLC.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just that's not part... Okay, fair enough. That's not really part of the game to me. That's just here is a motion comic and then like a little Street Fighter thing, and you paid $8 for it or whatever.
They should have put them in Street Fighter 4 or 5 for that matter.
Yeah. Sorry, I was thinking about things that actually happen in the game.
Well, there you go. You got all you could want with Sakura Wars. I'm still very interested in picking it up at some point here. So,
oh, it's very pretty. That's like, I mean, I just dig the style. I like the characters, music. It's got a great soundtrack. But I talked about that last time. So yeah,
I'll have to check that out as well.
Sorry, I guess you're trying to segue to news.
No, I'm trying to. So, did you get any farther in FF7 Remake, Mark? Or
I hit chapter 13. And I hit against that Leviathan boss fight and got my ass kicked pretty hard. That was not fun. So I have to level up a little and try that again and not be depressed about it.
Oh, so you have to fight him there. You can't. It doesn't get stuck with Chadley, and then you can do it whenever. You have to do it.
I think you can actually. I'm not.
You can do it whenever. You don't have to do it to Leviathan at all.
Okay, good. So I might just keep going then.
Okay.
But like, I looked up a guide about like how to beat it, and it's like, well, I don't have most of the stuff you list, so this may be a problem.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool to have him. So...
Yeah, I mean, summons in that game really aren't that important.
Ifrit has saved my butt sometimes.
I mean, sure. I mean,
so
they're useful, but they aren't like game breaking.
Yeah, because they show up once. Like once they are summoned, you can't summon them again. So,
man, I used Ifrit a lot. Ifrit was kind of my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used Shiva sometimes if I knew that character was, like, the boss I was fighting was weak to ice, but, yeah.
I actually pretty much just use the Fat Chocobo, because that's, like, that kick or not the Fat Chocobo, the Chocobo and Moogle, because that kick he does, like, drastically ups their stagger meter, so that helps quite a bit, regardless of what elemental attack it has.
I think I used him once, and it wound up being against a boss that was, like, strong as wind, so it really... didn't do anything. I was like, okay, not using him again.
Right.
Yeah, I never even activated the Choco Kid. I forgot that I had it. So
that's one of the ones that like screws up the summon system. So I wouldn't use it. I mean, you can activate it, but I would never use it.
Oh, I just wanted to see it once. I just forgot that I had it. Like it never. I guess you have to go in the options and activate it because I never saw it appear.
No, you have to like you just have to enter in the code from the game, like in the PSN store, and then it's just like a DLC option.
Oh, okay. I just remember it like downloading for me, and then I guess I did have to do that.
Yeah.
Oh well. Yeah. But anything more on Chimera Squad, or haven't played that much, or?
I played like the next mission. I got the sniper, which in XCOM is always game breaking because it gave me a choice. He's like, "Do you want the snake soldier, the sniper, or the psionic dude?" I'm like, "I'll take the sniper because you always want the sniper." And I find that game really boring. Like, I don't know about Gears Tactics, but like, it's like the most like it's incredibly bare bones. Like, it has like very little production value, and it's like, well, you guys really did this on the cheap. Like, I think like 3 days ago or 2 days ago, they were offering the game for free on like some online storefront. I'm like,
oh,
wow.
Really? Okay, wow. Yeah. They went from cutting it down to $10 for release to offering it for free. Wow.
I think it was like the Win Game Store, like some like kind of like, smaller game store, but it was like, it's free for like an hour. So the site got slammed, and I'm like, yeah, of course it did. But I mean, even at free, like it's like, I guess. But I think there are better XCOM, those type of strategy games out there for sure. I mean, I think is Gears 50 or 60? It might be 60.
Gears Tactics is 60 if you buy it.
Yeah, I mean, that is way too much. Like, if that game was 30, I'd probably happily buy it, but not 60.
Well, I mean, they're also not. It's also there for you if you want to pay $1 and get Game Pass Ultimate for 3 months. I mean,
I like owning games.
I know, but like if you want to try out something, it's not bad. Like I get you like owning games.
By that metric, I could just bootleg it, and that'd be free. Like, I could just mail, Coalition Games $1. Be like, hey, I pirated your game. Here you go.
Okay.
But
fair enough.
Yeah, I'll keep hacking away at XCOM. I just find it just really boring. That's the problem.
Yeah, I haven't played any more Gears because I'm trying to speed through Streets of Rage so I can write about it. Because I'm like knee deep in like 4 games I'm supposed to be reviewing. So I'm trying to like have it all done so I can just write one after the other and then have everything free for Xenoblade at the end of the month.
Yeah, I still have that pre-order, but I don't know if I'm going to keep it or not.
Which Nintendo basically confirmed for sure it's coming on the 29th because they just released a whole 7-minute video talking about all the characters and showing a heck of a lot more of that sweet looking gameplay with the nicer graphics. So I don't know if you saw that, Jens. I mean, if you played the game already, you know those characters anyway, but I'm just, it was pretty cool, and they talked a little bit about Future Connected, like what that's about too. So
I did not see any of that stuff.
Yeah. I don't know if you want me to talk about it at all, or because I know how you are sometimes about.
No, I'm curious.
Yeah. So Future Connected involves Shulk and Melia, and you see kind of what's going to happen to Melia's. I forgot what it's called. Her world or her tribe where they're from.
Mm-hmm.
And there's 2 new Nopon that also are on your squad.
Wow.
And so
this is
I think it's going to wind up tying to, if not the Torna DLC, to 2 in some way.
That'd be cool if they could link it all. I have not played Torna yet, so I don't. That's the one that's on the backlog.
Right. Oh, it's so good though.
But
the only thing that sucks about it is they do force you to do the side quests to like advance the story at certain points, but the story is well worth it.
Right. Yeah. Got to get some value out of it. Smaller games, so that seems to happen sometimes with DLC where they make less of the content optional, I guess. Though you know what, you still want to do most of course, Xenoblade has always had so much content that there was trying to 100% everything is completely futile to begin with. So
it does look like they made the world a little bit more like 2 in how they opened it up some. Like I don't remember seeing as many, like some of what they show is like I don't remember seeing as many like highly leveled monsters around when you go into those Great Plains, or
right. You won't take a wrong corner and be dead suddenly.
Yeah, they happen to show a lot more of that as well. But yeah, it's gonna be fun to play that and it looking nice there.
Man, it's exciting that this is like all new content that they're adding.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's the base game. Most of it is the same game. It's just they're also adding that extra like epilogue, I guess, to tie it into. But
nice.
You get like it showed like basically gave like a profile on each one of the characters and showed a lot more of the game, like what it's gonna look like with those nice graphics and everything. And some of the redone music as well. So that's always a plus.
Cool.
Some of the best music in gaming right there. Xenoblade.
Oh yeah. This is why I need my physical copy of my CD set.
Well, speaking of Japanese things, Tokyo Game Show joins the long list of gaming shows that are canceled. And this one's not happening until September, but, obviously, Japan going through a much different version of the outbreak than other places are. And, I mean, if they already canceled the freaking Olympics, I mean, anything else is going to kind of pale in comparison to that. So this was supposed to take place September 24th to the 27th in Makwari, Masai, and it's now going to be turned into some kind of a digital event. So we'll see, I guess, what they can salvage out of it to turn it into a digital.
And this does not bode well for other September events. If this is we are now, as far as canceling things this far in the future.
I mean, maybe, but we'll see what happens. Like, Japan is always, I mean, they were wearing masks even without the virus, or, they're very...
Oh, sure, but they also didn't, they didn't implement distancing as early as other places.
Yeah, the lockdown
they were more lax about that. Yeah, it's weird. They were also more lax about work. Well, of course, they don't, we talked about work from home infrastructure. But, yeah, it's a bummer, obviously, but we're still going to get the announcements. And for me, it doesn't make a big difference to my life, though.
Yeah, I mean, because we weren't going to go to Tokyo to this event anyway, so.
And I've always wanted to go.
Right.
I might go at some point, which makes me hope that this is not going to, all of these trade shows, I really don't want this to be the death of them.
Yeah, it's still like a cool thing to go. Like, I will always cherish that, getting to go to E3. Obviously E3 is much different now with having the people, the general gaming public there. But it's, and also Nintendo still had a actual like E3 presentation then, and like getting to go to all those was like a cool thing. So now there's so many of them that I hear from everybody that it's almost so much easier just to cover that from your hotel room and not bother going into the actual, seating and being in there. But yeah, it's still like a just cool event to go, and I'd love to go to the Tokyo Game Show just to experience that and just be there. As well, but maybe Gamescom also on the list in the future, maybe, who knows. But yeah, speaking of events, the first of the what is now a monthly Inside Xbox, supposed to be giving you a peek into something involving the Xbox Series X, which is being just called Xbox 2020, and as they revealed, the July episode will feature the look at the first party games. June will be part of the IGN Summer of Gaming thing, which is more akin to trying to get like an E3 thing out of everybody that's in that, which also now Cyberpunk 2077 has also joined the IGN Summer of Gaming. As we talked on the last show, EA Play is going to have their EA Play thing on that, which is their usual E3 press conference deal. And, well, it's cool that they're doing this, every month. And I mean, other than Mark, who doesn't want 4 or 5 months of game news, spread out.
Judging by the event they put on, I don't think anyone wants 4 or 5 months of this crap.
Well, I think it should probably do it the opposite way, but this is already, as this show's being posted, it's already 2 days old, so might as well do it the opposite way. So if you've been living under a rock or just don't pay attention to gaming news that closely, and for some reason you're hearing it first on this show, I guess that's awesome in itself, is the May 7th event, as Mark just alluded to, was not received well, at all.
I would call it a shit show.
I wouldn't say it's a shit show. I would think it's more of, Microsoft should have just not worded anything and just said we have an Inside Xbox.
Did Microsoft promise next-gen gameplay for Assassin's Creed?
Did.
Or was that Ubisoft?
Here's both, the thing. Actually. Xbox, here's what it actually said in the press release for this May event. We will focus on giving you a first look at next-gen gameplay, did not specify what games, trailers, and sneak peeks from a wide variety of publishing partners and independent developers across the globe, including Ubisoft's recently announced Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and hear from the game creators on what they're doing with the games. So, I mean, yes, technically they did promise that not everything is going to be gameplay. They said trailers and they said sneak peeks as well. The thing is, I think what hurt the most for me is the Ubisoft thing was that was just terrible.
A joke.
And that was, I don't know how much of that was Ubisoft wanting to they want to save everything for their event, or realizing that they didn't, at the last minute, maybe decided they didn't want to show anything. I don't know. I don't know how that works. I don't know if we'll ever really know, if Ubisoft will ever be honest about why they showed what they showed. But to promise that game at the end, and then to show the very small amount of it that you did, and a lot of it being the same things we saw in the first trailer, and then also it's just like, talk about like having to grab a magnifying glass and try to figure out what the heck was actual gameplay.
I mean, I kind of did that. When I was looking at that trailer, I watched it like 2 or 3 times. Like, well, some of this does look like gameplay, but it'd be like, watching a racing game taken from like the replay camera. It's like, yeah, this is technically gameplay, but not really. Like, and that game is due out in 6 months. Like, they should have something.
But
like,
again, like, they had their own event in June, so...
Yeah, I mean, show, like, multiple missions, but, I mean, they can at least show, like, the guy walking or climbing up Stonehenge or something like that.
Yeah, they could. I just... this is the first one. I think it's nice that Microsoft wanted to show off the third parties, and obviously them getting to talk a lot about those hundreds of developers that were working on games for them. I mean, most of those are probably also... There's little bits of information that was not included in this, which I guess I appreciate, because there's some E3s where Microsoft spent more time telling you limit exclusive, timed exclusive, all that stuff. There's information that some of these games that they showed is either a timed exclusive or a launch game or whatever. The major thing that I think also hindered this a bit is a lot of these games are smart delivery enabled, which is great if you're going to get them on Xbox One or PC or whatever. I think that also limits how much is this really going to look like next gen if most of these games are also appearing on the previous console. And I think in general, we also have to remember that this is not going to be this huge graphical leap. We're talking about the games running better, looking better, from a other kind of standpoint, as in like they have better lighting, things are going to move faster, games are going to load faster, and not so much like you're going to see this crazy jump in graphical fidelity, because, I mean, PCs are kind of, if you get your high-end PC, you're already going to be doing a lot of what you're going to see in the Xbox Series X and PS5. So, I wasn't really expecting that. I think I understand. Like, I don't know what you thought, Jens, but this just felt like another Inside Xbox to me. It didn't.
I liked seeing Yakuza.
Yeah, that was funny. Well, that was the one game that actually had gameplay.
Yep.
That
crazy summons
out
is
in
what you
Japan,
want.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's cool that series is on Xbox now. But yeah, that was actually, again, I couldn't care less about any of the stuff that was shown.
You didn't like Scarlet Nexus? That felt like another Code Vein type thing.
Yeah, I figured that would have been up your alley, though. that anime game.
Oh, sorry. I meant by Ubisoft.
Oh.
I actually didn't. Yeah, I actually didn't see the full event. I just saw the shit show part.
I saw like half of it. I don't care about the Geiger game or that Silent Hill knockoff or whatever they're making.
Oh, I've only seen some screenshots of the Geiger game. It looks cool.
Oh, that looks amazing. Scorn?
Mm-hmm.
That looks awesome. And I've seen there's actual gameplay from, because this has been in development since like 2014. So there's actual like at least 8 or 10 minutes of gameplay from, I don't know, back then. And it looks really cool. Like the whole thing stays in that aesthetic, even in gameplay. And there's, puzzles and there's adventure to it. It's not just shooting. It's like various game types and one when it's all first person. But it looks, I mean, at least what they showed there looks great. But that's the thing is, I mean, I guess that's in engine, but how much is that cinematic and how much is that in engine, It's also, some of these were prefaced by, well, this is what it's supposed to look like on Xbox Series S. It's not, this is Xbox Series X, which I think is also what made people upset, is why are you showing us things that are being run from a PC?
Because there's not a Series X, it's not like they have like 5 of them in the back room that are that would be sold on stores.
It's not live. This is a video thing, like
Yeah, and most of those games probably still aren't optimized for the Xbox One X. Like that doesn't bother me at all. It's like, yeah, of course.
Well, no, I'm saying the general populace and the console war folks that want to find the first thing to get upset about. But yeah,
I mean, they don't understand game development, so their opinion doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I mean, something else they show, which is obviously not going to look great because it's supposed to be coming on or not that it looks bad. It's just, it's obviously not going to look like anything next gen of Vampire Masquerade Bloodlines 2. Even I like that trailer. It's just, it's not going to look next gen because it's clearly coming out on these systems, that we have now. So, I
mean, it's I don't think next gen applies anymore because it's like some of these games you just can't tell the difference. I mean, Cyberpunk, whenever that comes out, it's like,
well, you're always going to be limited by what assets the team can create. Yeah. You're going to be limited by your development time and your labor force.
And we have to remember too, the first couple of years of the Xbox games, they already said there's no next, Series S exclusives.
Yeah.
So they're not going to be able to take advantage of it completely, Well,
we have the next one will be the Halo one, so that'll be fun to rip apart.
At some point, we're just going to see improvements in things that can be done procedurally, or algorithmically. Right. That's where we're going to see anything that you can automate. Where you can, like, we can do, this fog, tech, or this like mass AI or whatever.
Well, think about the crowds in Assassin's Creed. Like that was the big driving point.
That was the cool thing, and it didn't quite work. And if I'm assuming you're talking about Unity, Unity is the one that had like the crazy crowd tech. So yeah, if they actually made good on the promise of Unity in one of these, that'd be a cool thing. That's where I think the next gen is going to help out. But at some point, we just played Final Fantasy VII Remake. That game looks amazing. Sure.
But even that game has parts of it where it doesn't look great.
Yeah, but it's because there's a shitty texture on a door.
Yeah.
Or like we've zoomed in. We're zooming in on the flower when the flower is not nearly a high enough quality model to zoom in that close.
Characters when they zoom in, same way.
I mean, the main character. I think the main characters look pretty good, but you get to that. But would it really look that much? So yeah, you're going to have a higher texture quality. You may output more polygons, and things are going to be a little bit rounder.
Yeah, but it's not going to be like some generational leap, like the Xbox to Xbox 360 or like PS1 to PS2.
At some point, it's still a character model that somebody had to model and animate, and that's going to be the limit of what can be rendered.
Right. I think, from other things that were shown also, like Bright Memory Infinite, that's actually in early access. I just bought it for $10 on Steam. It's basically the full game of what they have in early access right now that's going to be coming to Xbox. I mean, it looks cool. It's like a shooter that's also like has action combat, and it has a scoring system also, like a beat 'em up game. So I mean, and you can drive a cool looking car. So at some point, so I mean, I get it. Like some of these games are not, they're not looking like crazy, but I think others, such as Scorn. Even Scarlet Nexus, you can tell how much better it looks with that upres.
I mean, that game just looked like that game looked like Astral Chain 2 to me. Like it's like, all right, I guess.
There's probably some Code Vein in there too, because there's probably some of that combat that's going to have the Dark Souls tinge to it. I just love the look of the villains, like a freaking thing with flowers on it that has legs, and
they just stole that from Star Trek. Hard, man, come on.
But it's cool. It has like 2 different anime styles. It look good. What'd you think of the Dirt 5? That was the announcement.
I mean, it running at 120 frames per second might be cool. But like them going, hey, we got Nolan North and Troy Baker to the voice work is not a great endorsement.
I mean, they're promoting a story mode, so
yeah. I mean, that's the kind of the thing that might interest me, but we'll see. Like. You got to do something with that franchise.
Yeah, but then things like Madden that they showed, like I think like 2 seconds of Patrick Mahomes in engine. Like, that's the kind of stuff that's like, why even bother? You know?
I mean, I can't say that about the whole Madden franchise.
Yeah.
So,
One of the things I think I liked the most was the medium. That looks awesome. And it's from the same team that did the Observer, the blooper team. So you know it's going to be good. Did you see the Cyberpunk Diablo?
I saw like a little of it. I mean, that'd be cool because I want that.
Yeah, it's called The Ascent.
I imagine Jens will too.
Yeah, it looks like
Okay.
You're gonna see it. It's immediate Cyberpunk Diablo. That's what they're going for. That's the whole theme.
Sounds like you're describing to a human.
Yeah,
No, this is good.
Okay.
but it's got the isometric gameplay.
Yeah, I mean,
You can play by yourself or co-op. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, we'll play that. If it's co-op, we'll play it.
Speaking of co-op, there's also a Dinosaur Destroyer co-op game
Dinosaur Destroy what?
by the Avalanche Systemic Reaction team. It's called Second Extension, and basically, it's there. It's there for you to kill all the dinosaurs with guns. That's what that game is. So,
Is it a first-person shooter?
yes,
Okay.
yeah, that's so maybe you and Mark can play that too.
Also co-op?
Yeah, it's a co-op. It looks like it's supposed to be designed for like 3.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I'd shoot some dinosaurs. That's not something that I shoot usually.
I want to have this. It needs to have the cerebral bore from Turok.
Mm,
that's what it was giving me vibes of too. Was a little bit of Turok.
okay. I've never played a Turok game, I must admit.
The first two are cool, and then the series falls apart after that.
I did play Trespasser, though I never finished it.
No, there's like Turok, like you have like crazy weapons. It's like really weird.
Mm.
Well, all dinosaurs are like mutated and stuff, so they're going to be like faster and things like that. So
Right, because regular dinosaurs are just not cool. That's what Jurassic World taught us, right? That like we need a stupid made-up dinosaur because regular dinosaurs are, so 90s.
Hey man, it's all part of the marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also like a space aerial combat game called Chorus that looks kind of neat.
Ooh.
Like you pilot a they show off this girl that's I guess the main character in the story, and then they show the like space combat shooter gameplay, and you can do flips and stuff and shoot, and there's starfighters and that kind of thing. So it looks pretty neat as well. I mean, like that's the thing. A lot of these games, there's some of them we knew about, like Yakuza and Vampire, but a lot of these were games we didn't necessarily know about. So I kind of appreciated that as well. And we're not talking about, we got all the huge publishers. These are kind of the, I guess, lower, BC type, publishers. So it's nice to see Microsoft kind of embracing that as well,
Sure.
So, yeah.
I'm excited with the prospect of a space game. Is this a cockpit or exterior camera, or like how simmy does it seem?
From what I saw, it was exterior combat. It's not first person. Maybe it might just be you have different views,
Okay, but like in terms of complexity, did it seem more like a shmup, or did it seem more like a sim? Is I guess what I'm trying to get at.
It's like
is it like Wing Commander or not? Like
no, it's
like
not that. I don't think it's that.
Okay.
I mean, it's only an hour, or it's not an hour, like a minute and 20 seconds of gameplay. So,
man, I really regret not seeing any of these. Just Yakuza and Assassin's Creed. Seems like I missed some cool stuff.
I mean, those are the big ones. I mean,
that's all the ones they show. It is there's 25 minutes of stuff. Yeah, so.
I love space combat. What is this game called?
Chorus.
Space combat game. Oh, okay. Official announced trailer.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, a lot of the stuff, I get it. I get what the people were upset about. There were short clips. A lot of it was very stylized, which we'd expect in these things. They're trying to make that look cool. They don't want to sit there for 5 minutes and show off, people walking around and things like that. But
I mean,
yeah.
I would rather have that than just. I mean, that's real. It's not like that Assassin's Creed thing was so fake that.
Now I know why you couldn't tell me what the hell Chorus actually was. Because I'm watching the trailer right now, and it's just all cool lady standing in a hangar.
Hey,
Well, that's the gameplay is like a little bit later in the trailer, I think.
that is 80% of what this event was. So
I'm skimming. Wait, where's the gameplay? Is there gameplay in like the last?
It's a
few
little
seconds?
bit. You'll see like
the last 10 seconds. Or last
I think it's like the
seconds.
last 20 seconds or something like that.
What?
They show like a ship doing flips and then shooting.
I mean, even like
there
that.
it is.
Yeah.
Even like that Dirt 5 trailer. It was like, most of that was probably, from the game, but it's all like replay of, replay races. It's like
This looks like an arcade game. Like you're really far away from your ship with the camera.
Yeah. Okay.
It's kind of like it reminds me of the Gummy Ship a little bit. I mean, obviously in a realistic art style, but in terms of the perspective and how you're moving, reminds me a little bit of Kingdom Hearts.
Agreed. And there's
Okay.
also the Call of the Sea game that looks like it's like an adventure game with set in the 30s and it's first person. That looked neat too.
Call to see if I have a warrant. Is that it?
Yeah, Call of the Sea. Or Call of the Sea.
Oh, Call of the Sea. Sorry.
So yeah, I liked what they showed. It's just they didn't do a great job of showing it off.
Ooh, it's a Lovecraft game or a Lovecraftian game.
Yeah. And it was misleading, and also like I felt like it's the same Inside Xbox stuff where we're prioritizing more about giving you the interviews with the people talking than we are necessarily focusing on having the good gameplay. So
I mean, no offense to developers, but most of those, I don't care about listening to them. Like, unless it was like a guy playing I think they did that for like Origins, maybe. Like they were like showed a mission of Origins, and the guy was talking over it. He's like playing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that would have done a lot better, even if it's some throwaway mission in Valhalla. I'd be like, oh, I have to find the axe. It's like go on this like 5-minute tomb run or something. It's like then you could explain what's going on, not just some cookie cutter trailer that the ship combat looked kind of like from the game. But that's about it.
yeah, that was the thing is they showed that small little trailer and they spent I think 5 or 6 minutes talking to I forgot who it was, the creative director, and I'm just like. Well, that's what Inside Xbox is. We want you to see our people talking to other people. And I get it. It feels like it's the total antithesis of what Sony and Nintendo do, where they don't want to have people talking in their direct. That's what the Treehouse and that's what the other things are for. And Microsoft wants to do the opposite. And it's just like the majority of people that are not in games press that need to know all these extra little tidbits to write an article don't care about that stuff. So that's the thing I think where they get knocked, and they perhaps take this in stride and learn to make it more of like their E3 presentation where it's games, but let's show stuff that people really, if you're promising gameplay from these games, so many people really have to sit there and look for it. Or I have to wait until, which I forgot to mention, the Bright Infinite is made by one person, which that's amazing that one person made that game with as good as it looks. Wow. And as much stuff is in that game. But also, that guy had to go later and update and upload an 18-minute long thing of gameplay so you could really see what that game is like. Because the minute and 30 seconds that they showed at the Xbox thing was very misleading. It looked awesome, but it doesn't look as cool as when you see it in it does move really fast because it feels like an FPS version of Control because she has like the powers and she shoots guns, but she's also like really fast. And you get scored every so often with like an actual grade on top of when you're going around and killing the enemies or whatever. And you can switch between like a sword and a gun and whatever. So, I mean, it's like, again, there's a lot going on, but you don't really grasp that until you see that 18 minutes of gameplay that was thrown on later. So.
There's no 18 minutes of gameplay about Dirt 5 or Assassin's Creed, so.
Yeah, but Dirt 5, even Codemasters itself is basically telling you we just started. This is kind of what we're showing because we've just announced the game. We're not, like, super far into development.
Then, if that's the case, don't show it. I mean, I would rather them hold off the announcement until they say, hey, This is the actual game.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's dirt. I mean, like, what do you expect? Like, we saw what dirt is.
That's the nuts parts about the Assassin's Creed thing. Is like that game. They said it's going to be out this year. They should be showing gameplay of that thing.
But again, we know how Ubisoft is. They always wait till their show to show you the big part of Assassin's Creed.
And they should have backed out from this thing. I mean,
I agree. But we wouldn't even be having this really if none of this stuff happened. It'd all be happening at E3 anyway. But yeah, we'll see how IGN's thing rolls out and what we get there. Jeff Keighley apparently was doing production for this thing as well, even though you wouldn't be able to tell. He did say that more things are going to be coming in May. They're just not announced yet of who's going to be, whose shows those are going to be. But apparently more things are coming before whenever IGN's thing is happening, which I guess is like that E3 week in June.
Yeah.
So moving away from that, we talked a lot more than I thought we were going to about that. Mortal Kombat 11 announced. NetherRealm announced Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath, which has some free content along with paid content. So the free stuff coming May 26th is going to add new stages, new stage fatalities, and friendships are back, which that's cute, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. Like,
bring back
I
animality
remember.
now.
Are these just alternatives to fatalities?
Yeah.
Yes, it's like
Noob Saibot, or one of the guys, is like, he clones himself and he starts jump roping with himself.
Yeah.
Or like Kano, like barbecues some sausages with like laser eye.
Mm-hmm.
It's silly, but
I mean, it's part of the lineage because that stuff was like in Mortal Kombat 2, I think, or maybe 3.
Yeah, it's
Possibly
in
3.
Mortal Kombat trilogy.
Yeah.
It's why it's fun. The Deadpool and Soul Chamber are going to be brought back from Mortal Kombat 2 and 3. So that's cool, I guess, if you're a huge Mortal Kombat fan.
Yeah, let's get to the good stuff.
Yeah, the paid stuff is going to have Robocop
Yeah.
show up, Shokan Queen Shiva, Raiden's brother and God of Wind Fujin. So he's going to be there as well, and there'll be exclusive like story stuff for the DLC characters: Shang Tsung, Nightwolf, Fusion, Shiva, and Sindel. So if you use those characters a lot, you can, enjoy that, and you get to kind of see what happens to Liu Kang after he gets godlike. So.
Man, I'm just happy to see proper Robocop in this picture with even Peter Weller's likeness, because Mortal Kombat has such a history of...
I mean, he's voicing the character.
Oh, that's even better. Mortal Kombat has a history of usually always giving you the bullshit version of a character. Like, here's Freddy, but it's the remake Freddy.
It would be really funny, because I mean, every character has like alternate skins. It'd be funny if at least one of them was the modern RoboCop and his voice.
Oh,
by
yeah,
Joel Kinnaman.
Exactly, the Joel Kinnaman RoboCop.
They actually did that for, I think, the first Injustice. I mean, they had Green Arrow in that game, but there was like an alternate skin where it was voiced by Stephen Amell, and like, this is cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm happy because we can finally live out the RoboCop versus Terminator fantasies we've all had.
Yeah, finally we'll know who would win.
And it's RoboCop.
True.
So just for the people that wanted to know, if you have MK11 but you don't have the first combat pack, you can get everything, including Aftermath, for $50. If you already had the first combat pack, you can get everything, including Combat Pack 2 and the Aftermath content, for $40. And you can also just eventually get a physical version for $60 in June that has everything. So if you don't have the original game at all, but yeah, that's a lot there.
I mean, they're basically doing like Smash Brothers Ultimate did, like, Combat Pack 2 or Character Pack 2.
Yeah,
I think it's nice that it's good they're actually like continuing the story, because there's probably not going to be an Injustice game this year, or if there probably was going to be one on track, but
or maybe not. Like, Mortal Kombat 11 was so well received because I've seen it became it felt like 11 has been a much bigger part of the like fighting game scene than 10 was. So perhaps they just decided to, hey, let's just do more with combat with 11. So, plus they have that, was it that anime or like cartoon show that's coming or already out or whatever that is?
Well, there's some like Mortal Kombat cartoon movie out about Scorpion.
Yes, that. And then aren't they doing like another movie? Like live action?
I mean, the live action movie is like a year off though, I think.
Yeah. So, I mean, why not, keep doing, more with the series that's doing a lot for you right now? I mean, DC doesn't really need Injustice. They're doing their own stuff with Wonder Woman and their movies.
Yep.
Cyberpunk 2077. Also, I mentioned they're going to be part of the IGN Summer Gaming, but they also kind of made news by announcing that you are allowed to basically customize your genitalia in Cyberpunk 2077. There will be no gender. So,
as a fan of character creators, I'm excited about this.
You're gonna just put the penis on your head, aren't you?
Oh, I wonder if that's... the question really is how much customization is there, especially if you're not giving me a... wait, when you say... So there's no starting... How do you customize your genitals if you don't at least start with like, okay, let me start with like a default penis or a default vagina to start like fiddling with? That sounded so bizarre to say out loud.
You're just anti-trans, man. Come on.
No, I mean,
players can select a gender and customize their character. Customization can include depictions of breasts, buttocks, and genitalia.
Okay, so you do select the gender,
right? But there's no so like gender is not. There's not here's a male version of the guy and here's a female version. Like gender is it just a
slider where if I said in the
well, isn't that like what Saints Row 3 did and Saints Row 4? Like sexiness slider or like
a lot of people have a lot of games have a slider where you can just do how masculine or how feminine is this character instead of making you pick a gender. But once you bring genitalia into it, I figured that there'd be some sort of specificity. Even if I put the slider in the middle, am I going to be a hermaphrodite, or am I going to have some weird in between genital? And to what?
I hope the second one.
To what extent can I customize? Like, can I make a completely new kind of genital? Can I just have 3 seashells down there?
So here's how CD Projekt explains it.
It'll be even more funny when Keanu Reeves falls in love with you.
No, but I mean, I just wonder how.
So this is how Cyberpunk explains it. In our character creation menu, you don't choose gender anymore. You don't choose I want to be female or male character. You now choose body type.
Okay,
and that's how it starts.
So same as a lot of things.
Yeah. So they want it to be more inclusive, whatever, and it also kind of goes with the Cyberpunk.
But what about the genitalia, though? Go on.
Well, that's what I just explained. Was like
no, that doesn't explain what you said. Doesn't explain anything.
No, but that's all the information they give. Is that
okay? So I fully predict that this is going to be an empty promise. That there's going to be like 3 or 4 options to pick from, and at some point you can install an upgrade into your penis or vagina.
So you can like adjust the size and the combinations of genitals, so you can have a big penis or whatever if you want.
I want like penis on the right elbow, vagina on the left, and then have them dual.
Okay, so you can have a combination. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, you can increase the size, I guess.
No, but I mean, when you say combination, if you want your character to have both a penis and a vagina, that is possible.
I'm guessing so. If they're really being inclusive,
way too much about this.
Yeah. So, and there's also, thanks to the Australian Ratings Board, they've noted that there will be options to engage in sexual activities with other main characters or prostitutes, and that there's brief sex scenes from a first-person perspective. There's suggestive moaning, and you can move through various positions.
It worked for Far Cry 3.
Are the prostitutes going to react with surprise at your genitals?
Oh, God.
Well, you'll just have to buy the game to find out.
Really? Yeah. Yep. You're gonna have to.
Are they recording ADR where they're going like, I've never seen one of those before?
You've been playing way too much Sakura Wars.
So also included in this IGN Summer of Gaming thing right now is EA, Xbox, Cyberpunk 2077 PC, because that's all CD Projekt Red has right now. So the PC gaming show is going to be part of IGN Summer Gaming thing. The Humble, which IGN owns, Facebook, including Oculus. So Oculus is going to have their own like event, and it's going to be part of their Tripwire Interactive, Wizards of the Coast, Easy Day Studios, Rockfish, and Deep Silver. So Deep Silver also kind of did some kind of a swap of...
Yeah, they traded with Koch Media, or Coke Media, whatever they're called.
I thought it was Koch Media, but whatever.
All of those are off. Koch Media.
Koch Media?
No, Koch Media.
I'm going to go with Koch.
No. It's a...
Oh, God. Okay. This went off the rails already.
I think they traded, like, the big thing they traded was Red Faction, I think.
Yeah, Red Faction, and there's something else. I can't remember.
Well,
something that's similar to Red Faction that they
one
have.
studio traded, like, 2 properties, and the other studio traded, like, 6.
Mm-hmm. It's like a lot of, like, very, like, D-tier stuff that you really probably never heard of. I heard it on a podcast I was listening to.
So THQ traded Red Faction and Painkiller. That was what they got. So okay. They gave it to Koch Media, and then in return they got Sacred, Risen, Rush for Berlin, Second Sight, and Singles Flirt Up Your Life. So they're the clear winners, obviously, in that trade.
Well, Sacred was like big for a little bit,
and like Risen 1 and 2 were pretty good.
Yeah.
Risen 1 is actually kind of funny because it has like a bunch of like big voice actors in it that like you wouldn't like. Why is Lena Headey doing this voice?
Well, she wasn't part of Game of Thrones yet. So.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why.
And she has like this weird, like really weird pirate obsession. So that's why she wanted to voice a pirate.
Oh, okay, that makes sense too, I guess. But yeah, also Disney Plus announced earlier in the year that they're working on National Treasure 3 with the original cast, but now they're also working on, which I love National Treasure. I know it's like basically that conspiracy.
So does Jens.
Yeah. I love that kind of stuff. Like I know it's like just total conspiracy theory bullshit or whatever, but I loved like Da Vinci Code when it was popular and all that other stuff. So like National Treasure kind of like fell into that thing.
I'm reading Dan Brown's Digital Fortress right now, and it's awful. Oh my God.
Yeah, Digital Fortress is it's not.
But yeah, I don't think I'll ever make it to Da Vinci Code. I don't think I can think I'm done with that.
Those are good, like Angels and Demons, Da Vinci Code, all that, but like Digital Fortress just doesn't. It's a lot more very methodical.
I find it hard to believe that just based on the movies. Well, okay, that's fine. I like National Treasure movies too. They're fun, dumb romps, and of course Nicolas Cage is always a treasure, which brings me up to.
He's going to be Joe Exotic.
That is amazing. Like, if you're going to cast anybody as Joe Exotic, they've done the dream casting.
Oh,
for sure.
God. It's like now we might as well just replace him in the documentary, too, because it's not going to be.
They'll cast David Spade to be in, like, the direct-to-DVD version of that. So.
Well,
that's who I thought they would cast, because that's who he reminded me of the whole time, as I was thinking of David Spade and Joe Dirt.
There's going to be at least 3 battling versions of Tiger King anyway, because the one where Carol Baskin is being played by Kate McKinnon is a totally different show than the one that Nicolas Cage was just cast in. So we're gonna be just awash with Tiger King content. We're gonna have our fill.
Yep, it's
just like the lion's head of Carol's husband.
Yeah, so there's gonna be a younger cast with the Disney Plus version.
See, that's where I lose interest.
Yeah.
It's like,
to me... You're not going to get Nick Cage to be in a TV show like this.
Yeah, but National Treasure is Benjamin Franklin Gates.
I think if you
is
get
National
enough
Treasure.
people, if the Avengers stuff does well, I think you can, eventually.
And Nick Cage is already doing enough like direct-to-video movies filmed in Eastern Europe that you could probably get him on a TV show if you really wanted to.
But to get the whole cast, I don't think so, though.
I don't know. What's Diane Kruger doing?
I think she has on a TV show now.
Yeah. I also wonder, aren't they also cast Boba Fett, I think, for Mandalorian?
Yeah, Chimera
Season 2?
Morrison.
Yeah.
Yep. So our prequel Boba Fett.
But,
Well, because, I mean, the guy never took out his helmet in the sequel, or, the original movie, so...
Yeah, but they
he looked
redubbed
that
it.
up.
I just rewatched, I watched the new 4K releases, but they've got that, I think it was obviously not a special edition change. It was a change, I think, when they first released it on DVD, where they redubbed the guy who originally did Boba Fett with Timura Morrison. So now Boba Fett has a New Zealand accent, and it's like you're watching Fly the Conchords or something.
Yeah.
He says that Han Solo is no use to me dead. So it's very obviously Timura Morrison. So at least they're staying consistent, though. I thought, and oh gosh, I heard this secondhand. So maybe does one of you watch Rebels? Like at some point they had supposedly established that the Boba Fett in the movies is a different Boba Fett than the Boba Fett of the prequels, which seems crazy to me.
Yeah, that would be dumb.
Especially now that they're casting Timura Morrison again. So now I'm super confused, but whatever.
well, I mean, Disney hasn't really been one to...
They just seem to cast Mark Hamill on the show as Luke, the evil version of Luke Skywalker.
Well, no, they're not doing... It's just like Mara Jade. Mara Jade's never coming back.
Yeah.
But it seems like if they're bringing Boba Fett back from Mandalorian, I guess they're going to make the whole Boba Fett climbing out of the Sarlacc pit canon again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would be, unless we also consider... Well, no, because that was the Dark Empire trilogy. I think in the Dark Empire trilogy, it's very funny because Boba Fett has escaped the Sarlacc and at some point had amnesia and had adventures with Han Solo and then gets thrown back into the Sarlacc again. So
I just hope they can bring back B. Arthur. That's all I want to see in Mandalorian too.
Well, I'm sorry, she died starving in the streets after her business went under, Mark. That's what they don't tell you.
Not in my continuity.
Your headcanon?
Yeah.
Man, we sure are devoting a lot of space to people's headcanon now in articles, aren't we?
I guess.
I'm focused on B. Arthur, and you're focused on whether penises or vaginas can live in harmony.
Well, of course they can. We know they can.
And where they're placed.
Again, what if I just want to play Chris from Interspecies Reviewers? Krim.
Now you've lost probably the whole audience.
I know you can't. When you say you can customize your genitals, I want to know more.
Well,
that's all I'm saying. All I'm saying
that
is I
will
want
be
to know.
Covered in the IGN Summer of Gaming thing.
Yeah, they'll devote a full hour to it, just like when you created your character in Code Vein.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Mark still has bad dreams of having to watch that. You wasting an hour doing that.
Oh well.
Don't worry, I get him back when we play Snowrunner.
I've spent hours just stuck in the mud now at this point. So
that is literally the game.
Well, great.
It's all about trying to rock yourself out of the mud, or getting a better truck like I got, so that doesn't happen as much.
You're just literally grinding through the mud. That's what they need to do in that game.
And using your winch tactically to get out of it, or using 4-wheel drive, or whatever. I don't blame you for not liking a good game. I just blame you for liking a bad one like Death Stranding.
Well, if you start paying me like $25 per hour to play it,
damn, it's got.
I will consider it. Like I just looked up how much does a truck driver make, and it looks like the average base salary is $61,000. For $61,000, I could play that game for 8 hours a day. It could be done.
You need to get the full rig, like the full driving wheel and cockpit, and
as long as I can drive from home.
Yeah.
Well, just quickly, I guess, go through some things that are coming out or have come out since.
I guess that Jane and Silent Bob game finally came out.
What?
It did, yeah. Also, Fury Unleashed came out. Megabyte Punch came out as well. And Super Mega Baseball comes out like the day our next show gets posted. So, or Super Mega Baseball 3, I should say. I know Mark is a fan of those.
Yeah, first one was cool.
And the Star Wars Episode 1 Racer also comes out on the 12th. So if you've been waiting for that game to hit the Switch, it's almost here. So have fun.
That's a good game.
Yeah,
Back
I
in the
enjoyed
day.
that game for the 64.
Mm-hmm.
And for the arcade. I love playing that in the arcade.
Yeah, but that was a different version because you had a way different control system.
Well, it is fun to like get into that thing that looked like the pod and.
Yeah. But that thing, like the N64, you had like an analog stick and just had like, accelerate and brake. In that pod race for the arcade game, you had like the two actual like control sticks, and it's like, this is weird.
Yep.
It was like, you're playing it like the Star Wars movie.
Well, I think we're going to skip the topic for this show, but we'll have one on the Tuesday episode. Anything else we should note? I think we're good. But certainly make sure if you like what you heard, you hit that subscribe button. So anytime we do a show, it's there in your feed already. You just, either it auto downloads or you can just hit the download button if you don't want to stream. Always easier for me to just download. That way I don't have to worry about going out of a signal when I go somewhere. And yeah, you can always review us as well on whatever podcasting app you like to use. We're basically out there on all of them. So, spread the word and review us so that we can get higher in those rankings. And well, until the next show, we'll see you guys later.
Later.